Luke's
Damn
favorite
right.
person on Earth.
Who dis?
Greta Thunberg.
Hey, she has that fifth chromosome.
Dude,
Don't be
do you
hating.
She has those
remember?
bangs now, Luke. Was that you? You're like, you should cover your forehead.
Yeah, that's helping her a little bit.
It was a 5 head.
Yeah. Do you remember, Luke? Do you remember that one picture that was floating around of Greta Thunberg that everyone suddenly started feeling differently about her?
What?
No.
Okay, well, then I'm not going to talk about it.
No, you
There-
already started, you weirdo.
Now the man's to see it.
I feel like it was AI altered. I'll put it that way.
Huh.
I
was
don't
a
wanna
pic-
see
it was
you
a pic-
degenerates.
It was a picture of her being arrested. It was not, everyone was fully clothed, but it appeared like she had been bestowed a great gift overnight. And everyone was like, what happened here? Anyway, wait, Netflix pulled the bridge because New Zealand complained about it being objectionable. Well, that's what VPNs are for, my friend, my New Zealander friend. So basically Greta Thunberg is on yet another PR stunt. Like all of her arrests and everything are all PR stunts. Now she's apparently on the Freedom Flotilla, just a few kilometers outside of Israel. And Israel's now basically said, like, hey, like, F around. Hey, listen here, aspy little rich girl. Maybe don't get... This is all a psyop, isn't it? Like, she's just a psyop. She's obviously nowhere near danger. She put out this video that was like, this is a digital SOS. Please help us. We're in danger. What do you make of the Greta Thunberg world tour here to Palestine?
I think this deserves more of a nuanced conversation, as previous kind of flotillas that tried to break the Israeli blockade of Gaza.
Correct.
When it comes to aid, we're dealt with massive amounts of repression and even casualties. So there was a number of these boats, and this saga has been going
last year, I think.
No, for many years. I mean, this saga has been going on for a very long time. I think under the Bush era in the early 2000s, there's a very big case about it, since Israeli special forces, IDF troops, literally,
I remember, yes,
from helicopters landed on the boat. There was a shootout. There was an insane, situation and scenario unfolding.
They sunk it, didn't they?
I think there's been other ones that have been sunk. I'm think
pretty
the
sure
one I'm talking about during the Bush era, someone got shot and killed because there was like a struggle. But this is not a big boat. It's a little sailboat.
No, they have big boats with them. Look at this picture. Look at this picture. They had this in the video behind her. It looked like you could see. Oh, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. I thought this was like cargo ships behind her, but that looks like the coastline.
I don't think it's cargo ships. I think it's only this ship, to be quite honest with you. And
how much aid could they even have?
They have allegedly doctors on board that are going to be rendering aid. They probably have some medical equipment on there. And this is going to bring a lot of attention to the Gaza blockade, which I think is a serious issue. And listen, I disagree with Greta on a lot of her kind of points of view when it comes to global warming. But, whether this is the right move to make or not, I don't think we even have to argue that. I think there should be aid delivered. And the fact that some of the aid is not being delivered and so many people are being kind of held in that territory under the circumstances that they're under, I think deserves a real conversation.
What does Israel say? That there's weapons in them? Because I don't think anyone, I don't deny that
Hamas is just taking all the aid.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a video yesterday of Hamas indiscriminately firing on people while they were trying to get aid.
Hamas, but it was a crazy person shooting up as people were trying to get the aid. Obviously, it's a very desperate situation where some people would even say, "Hey, it was a hungry guy who had a gun who wanted to make sure his family."
Yeah,
it could be that too. So clearly, there's not enough aid. Clearly, when you blockade a whole, 2 million people and you deny things coming in and out of there, there's a conversation.
How do they stop it coming from the north?
All of it is blockaded. All of Gaza is blockaded. People can't come in and out.
Israel controls all the borders.
Yeah, the whole borders.
But that's been true for a long time. I mean, this is one of the things when people talk about the conflict, for a lot of people, they woke up to it on in October a couple years ago, but it's actually been going on for a long time. If you go back to news reports, you can see conflicts and bombings.
Free Palestine,
and obviously things are critical right now because of the need for medical intervention and this threat of starvation. And often, even though they'll announce truces or ceasefires temporarily to like vaccinate children, it always seems to go back to being as desperate as it is. This is separate from the need for aid in Gaza. I think it's lame that Greta Thunberg is basically switching causes. I haven't heard her talk about the environment in years. I thought that was her big thing. And now she's going to silently move into getting attention for a different cause. Now, maybe she should, because this cause is worthy. I don't know. I think it's interesting that the left needed a poster child for whatever cause of the day was going to be what they throw money at. And they have basically attached themselves to Greta Thunberg. I mean, you know, should there be a resolution with Israel and Gaza, what will she do next? And also, how long does this shtick last? Like, do you get to be a professional vigilante activist forever? It's just fascinating.
Well, I mean, as soon as she gets a little bit older, I think people will take her a little less seriously. She's in her 20s
now. Like, how much older?
40s? I don't know. I think she gets to be well, she also comes from money. So she doesn't ever have to work. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that I've been long on the record that I don't care if they glass each other, but like, you should let humanitarian aid in. If Israel's saying, hey, well, this humanitarian aid is, hidden weapons or something like that, I think you should have to prove that. And I'm not sure that they've ever done that. And,
it would be a big mistake for Greta to bring in any types of weapons into Gaza.
Yeah.
Like, and some people are saying that. And I'm like, okay, inspector, sure. Like, check her out.
But then they'll plant stuff, right? They'll say, what was this? Oh, it's this.
Possibility, yeah.
I mean, I actually respect this more than her stupid stop oil stuff, which we know her arrests are like a clear PR thing. Like, they're fake.
Well, they reach out to the police, and a lot of left-wing activists do this. They say, hey, we want to do civil disobedience. This is what we're going to do. You guys come in, arrest us. You give us a paper ticket, and then we'll kind of go from there. It happened with Occupy Wall Street. It happened with a bunch of people. So, I mean, there is a layer of like PR here, but I think she's coming from the point of view like, hey, this needs a lot of attention. And she is putting herself in danger, legitimate danger, since previous kind of convoys were attacked and had to deal with very serious consequences for doing what she's doing.
I don't think one that she's on is under the same risk as any other, right? If it was just straight aid, it would be at a bigger risk. And maybe it's good that she's calling attention to this. I don't know. It does seem to be her profession to do this. So
her presence protects it. Her presence there protects
it. Like, neither side is going to let the one with Greta Thunberg, where there's media attention. Yeah. Nothing's going to happen to that one because no one wants to be the country that's at fault for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that whatever side you're on in like Russia, Ukraine, I think if you're against getting humanitarian aid, if people are willingly like saying, hey, here's, food and water, and you're the people blocking that, you're kind of the bad guy. And this is something Israel has done for a long time. They have systematically stopped even running water to get in there.
And they argue because Hamas was taking
they use the pipes
and using it for missiles.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not everyone there is Hamas.
Well, but most of it is.
Some of them are supporters.
Something like they won an election, for crying out loud. Like,
and Hamas was a social group that offered aid to the people.
Let's just hypothetically, think this through. Let's just say, are we responsible for all of Biden's actions? Should we be punished?
No, I agree with you
because of what Joe Biden did as president of the United States. So I think there's, I don't think that's correct.
Well, and I also think that, like, somebody pointed out in chat too, like, Israel looks at like, why are we allowing aid into our enemy? Because Palestinians are indistinguishable from Hamas to Israel. I think we have this kind of rosy, like, we're we're far enough away from it that we can see the kids and this, that, and the other thing. But you talk to any troop that went to Iraq, I mean, even normies saw that movie, the sniper movie, right? They would send kids out with those vests on, and they would run out, and that happened. Like, I have friends that served in Iraq that said that 1000% happened. They would put those vests on babies, and like they would, women would come out with the baby, save my baby, and then so I don't know how in the hell you differentiate them. That you could argue, well, Hamas said that they were going to do terrible things to that woman, so that's why she did it. Okay, that might be true, but then what is the other person supposed to think? And like, there was that great scene. I don't know if that's exactly how it played out, but people say that movie was like the most accurate military movie ever in the modern day. I think it was Bradley Cooper played a sniper in it, American Sniper.
I think that was Bradley Cooper.
There was like a 10-minute sequence where he's like, what do I do? It's a kid. And the kid did, I mean, like he would have had, the kid kept approaching the troops. He was told to stop. What do you do? And in that particular case, the kid, I think, didn't have anything. But I mean, there were cases where they did. And, the how do I say, the rules of engagement probably would have cleared him and just evaporating that kid, because you never know. And so I don't know what, and they'll use special needs kid too. Yep, that's also true. I don't know. I think they should. I think if you're Israel, you should be allowing, food and water through. I think that's
a controversial take.
Hey, right.
These 2 million people should have some food and water.
Yeah,
that's not controversial.
Yeah, even if.
But the fact that we even have to like tiptoe around this issue, like, it's kind of weird.
Well, it's weird. Well, yeah, but also, like, I think it's fair to argue that, like, it's like we talk about, it's not my, I talked about that quote where it's like, yeah, the 1% of radical Muslims are bad, but the 40% of Muslims that support them are worse. Like, there's a huge percentage of the population in Palestine that support what Hamas does. They feel like they're in the right. They feel like they're fighting an oppressor, an invader. And I understand actually why they feel that way. You know what I mean? Like, right. So, is Greta going to get blown up? Probably not. I think it's pretty ballsy if she actually does land in Palestine. I don't think she will, though. I don't think she will. I think if she does, there are other dangers about being a woman in Palestine with Hamas that supersede the fact that she's there to help them. Because
are you expecting more like influencer activists to do something similar, or do you think that Greta is going to be the only one to do this kind of thing?
Oh, I think Greta's going to be the only one that does it, and I think Greta's never going to get to Palestine. That's what I believe. I believe Israel's going to detain her for her own protection, they'll say, and she's never getting through.
Interesting.
I mean, how do you see it ending? Do you think they're going to let a white girl walk across that border into Palestine and then be responsible for what happens to her?
I don't know.
Israel has to answer for that. If they let her through, they're going to be like, well, why'd you let her through? To get brutally, attacked and all this kind of stuff. You don't know.
But it's like so much of this conflict, right? Like, there's actually there are lots of negative fallout. There's not a ton of smooth, easy ways to handle things. I mean, if they detain her, everyone could be like, see, they're keeping aid and Greta Thunberg from Palestine, from the Palestinians.
From Palestinians,
if they let her in, obviously you're talking about any sort of fallout or danger that she's in. If they let her in and she's able to then continue saying, look, see, everyone here is nice and friendly to me, and Israel is the aggressor. Like, there's
it's a lose-lose, right?
Right. There's no simple solution. And especially when the religious and moral stakes of this conflict are so intense and so high for both parties. I don't know that the decisions are made calmly and rationally, and it doesn't seem like compromise in any scenario is likely to be reached.
Well, that's why the only solution is to detain her and not let her through. because
I think
they
that's
all.
probably going to happen.
What's that?
I think that's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, we got to do this for your safety because they're going to hurt you when you get
They
there.
already hate him, so they'll say, right? They like Greta Thunberg down there, and she gets taken hostage. Then what? Now what?
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to anger.
That would be
extraordinarily bad.
Yeah, I mean, support like I said, Gen Z supporters of Greta Thunberg and things that she does are going to look at Israel as the enemy, but
they already do.
Already. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lose-lose for Israel. They're never going to let her through it.